No more excuses. It's time to quit. There's studies showing right now that anywhere from about 65 to 99% of young adult men are consuming porn on a somewhat regular basis. Apparently, it ranks at about 25% of all of the internet searches on the entire internet. 25%. That's pretty scary. It's alarming to me because I know personally what the harmful effects that it can have on a person's life. The fact that so many young men have become addicted and drawn in by this false promise of porn is disappointing and saddening to me, because I want greatness out of young men right now. You know, I want greatness out of myself. I'm a young man. I'm 24, and I believe that you need to stop before 25. If you're younger, stop now. But if you're around the same age as me, you need to stop right now. It was the standard that I set for myself, and it's the standard that I would encourage whoever is watching this video to set for themselves, is to stop now. First off, I've done some research on why porn has become this extremely addictive phenomenon that's just ravaging men right now. Basically, it completely rewires your brain. It does that using something called dopamine. So dopamine is basically, it's released whenever we're doing something pleasurable, whether it's eating, whether it's hanging out with our friends, whether it's having sex, watching porn. That's when the dopamine is released. It's actually in the anticipation of pleasure. The way that you become addicted to it is because when that dopamine is released after you do something pleasurable, your brain creates these neural pathways which leads you back to the source of the pleasure. So now when you look at porn, you're getting these unnatural releases of dopamine, and so easily attainable that you become desensitized to normal levels of dopamine when you do things like hanging out with your friends, or reading a book, or working on your business, or whatever it is. You don't have the motivation to do so because you've become desensitized to the dopamine. And also, you need to keep going back. Your brain wants to keep going back and feeling that pleasure. So instead of feeling the pleasure from reading a book, you're gonna wanna feel the pleasure from going and watching porn, which is the bad habit that we have. So now that your brain has become accustomed to getting the pleasure from porn, getting these huge rushes of dopamine, and now that you're becoming more and more desensitized, you have to spend more time watching, have more sessions, and also you start to watch a little bit more extreme content. So you might start off watching something completely vanilla and go to something, you know, way out in left field. We're not gonna get specifics, but yeah, that's the gist of why people become addicted, spend so much time, they lose motivation for everything else in their life, and it's because of all the dopamine that's being released, and it's so unnatural for us to be experiencing that much dopamine at any point that we want to. So now I want to get into why we need to stop before we turn 25. And the main reason is because of the neuroplasticity of the brain. All right, I know I'm getting scientific in this video, and I normally kind of stick to anecdotal stuff, which I definitely will get into in this, because I have plenty of personal experience with trying to quitting, and you know, having you quit one day and whatever, right? So neuroplasticity is basically the ability of your brain to change and adapt. Right, so that's why small children are able to learn languages so easily, is because their brain is so malleable and so plastic that it can just change it, you know, like it's nothing. It's very easy for them. But the older you get, the less malleable your brain becomes. Reason number 2 for why we need to quit before we turn 25 is because it's a very detrimental habit to have. Like, it causes strain on your relationships, and by that I mean you're causing insecurities in your partner, You can have sexual dysfunction, you know, you're not being able to get it or keep it up. Yeah, nobody wants that. You're creating unrealistic expectations for yourself in bed and your partner in bed. Like, you know, you have this certain control over when you can have it and how you can have it and what's going on and what video and what girl you're watching. Like none of that bodes well for your relationship. All right, it's gonna create some strain. And a lot of people have lost relationships. People have lost relationships with friends, with girlfriends. You know, people have lost their families because of this. You know, it's not something that's really to play around with. All right, if you can stop, and everybody can, you need to stop. Another reason is because of the lack of confidence that it provides you with. All right, personally, I know that when I was in high school and I was watching it every single day, I had a hard time holding conversations and making conversations, making friends. I had a hard time holding eye contact. It was literally night and day. There were weeks that I would go without watching, and I was able to have conversations easily and being able to look people in the eye. And literally, I would look at it and I would do the thing, and then the next day I would try my hardest to still hold that eye contact because I knew how it felt. And for whatever reason in me, I just could not talk to people without looking away, and every other second. Like it's literally night and day, black and white. Like you can't get any more explicit in the effects that it has on your confidence. The last part of it being a detrimental habit is that you're wasting so much time. But most people don't sit down and watch for a minute or 2 minutes, even though it probably only take you that long to finish. Most people aren't sitting there and watching it for a minute, 2 minutes. Most people are getting on there, scrolling, looking for the perfect video, or just kind of like building themselves up to it. And this can last anywhere from 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Like it's very easy to spend a large amount of your day just, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then the last reason why I think that you need to stop before 25, and the reason why I word it that way is because I need to create this sense of urgency, right? If you feel like you can just quit whenever, then you're never gonna do it, because you're just gonna keep pushing it off like, oh, it's not gonna be that hard. Let me get one last one in and I'll quit. Or at the start of the year, I won't be doing it anymore. No, you need to start now, because it's not easy to do. And like I said before, our brains are less plastic the older we get, all right? I know it's a myth that at 25, your brain fully develops and you can't change it anymore. You're only losing brain cells after that. But the younger you are, the easier it's gonna be. And you need to create some sort of sense of urgency within yourself to make this change, because if without a sense of urgency, you're not gonna feel pressed to make a difference in your life. So now that I've kind of given you all that information, I'm not just gonna leave you hanging right there, all right? I'm gonna give you some actual tips for quitting, all right? Because like I said, I've done it once, I went back, unfortunately, and I've done it again. The first tip is find a friend to talk to about it. All right, I've definitely had a few different accountability partners over the year. My best friend in high school was mine back then, and we talked about it, and we both hated the fact that we couldn't stop, and we were like, you know what? I want a girlfriend, and watching porn is not gonna help me get a girlfriend. So we were both like, all right, screw this, I'm not watching it anymore. Just having that accountability partner and knowing that you're not the only one going through this, it definitely helps. And being able to talk through it, you guys can kind of talk through your tips together. What's helping him, what's helping you. Maybe what's helping him will help you, maybe it won't. It's just nice to feel some sense of community when you're trying to better yourself. Because if you're both trying to better yourself, you're gonna rub off on each other, but I'm just like, my verbiage is not doing great right now. Being around somebody trying to better themselves is gonna help you better yourself. That's the way I'll put it. My second tip is to actually do some research. There's a ton of YouTube videos on this topic. There's a shit ton of articles out there that kind of tell you what exactly watching porn is doing to your brain, what a lot of people have felt. You can go on Reddit, which I don't know if I recommend going on Reddit, but there's a lot of different communities on Reddit where you can probably find an accountability partner. And you can read people going through this problem themselves, people who, like I said, who've lost their families or created bad relationships with people because of their porn addiction. So yeah, doing some research on the topic can help you understand exactly what it's doing to you, and can help you change your mindset on what your habits are and what you're choosing to let into your life. Tip number 3 is to change your habits. All right, so your habits are what you do in your daily life, and what you're doing right now in your daily life is leading to you having this compulsion of watching porn and not being able to control yourself. So you need to change your habits so that they lead you to make better decisions, right? So if you're laying in bed on your phone in the morning when you wake up, or you spend a bunch of time online right before you go to sleep, and that's when you find that you're visiting these sites, then try not to do that. All right, if once you wake up, just get up and go and do something. Go find some people to be around. Go and find something productive to do. Or if you're going to bed, wait until you're actually sleepy to go to bed, and then go to bed. Don't get on your phone while you're in bed, because that's just gonna lead to one of those bad decisions I was telling you about. And keep your hands away from it. That's a habit that I know we all have, and definitely plenty of streaks have been ruined just by a slight touch, So a slight touch can snowball into a myriad of other actions that will cause you to break what you're trying to do. And if you feel yourself kind of starting to go down there, bring them up, and just even like saying out loud, nope, don't do that, nope, not the time, nope. It works, I swear. I've done it myself. Or even just saying it in your head. Tip number 4, get involved. All right, so if you're in school, get involved with some clubs in school. If you're in college, join a fraternity, or join some sort of club, or play a sport. Do something to get yourself out of these situations where you're by yourself in a room with nothing but your desires and your cell phone and a bottle of lotion. All right, you don't want to be trapped in that type of situation like I was, because I didn't get involved soon enough. All right, I just kind of wanted to come home and play my video games, and playing video games, I can just turn it off real quick and, do something productive with your time. Get out there, be around some people, because it will help, I promise. That's basically how I quit the first time. Was I joined my senior class play. I ran track. I started hanging out. I got my first girlfriend, and it all helped. I stopped, and I didn't do it for a long period of time. Lastly, tip number 5 is to change how you identify with yourself. All right, so if you go around and you're identifying with this person who watches porn, who's trying to quit porn, or if you identify yourself all the time as this addict who can't stop, then you won't stop. You need to identify yourself as somebody who has quit watching. You need to identify yourself as somebody who doesn't do that anymore, who thinks it's gross, who thinks that it's harmful, because it is. All right, so if you identify yourself with that, it'll be easier for you to make that change, that mental shift into, okay, I know I want to do it right now, but I don't do that anymore. Yeah, and you start to think that naturally. So in conclusion, I just want to say that we need to stop normalizing this habit, this dirty habit, because when I was young, people normalized it. People expected me as a 13, 14-year-old boy to go and play with himself all the time, and it was just like an identity that was projected onto me, and I accepted it and I ran with it, and it's something that's lingered into my early to mid 20s, which it's rough, man, because especially when you don't want to do it and you have this compulsion and you feel like you're not in control of your own thoughts. It's something that I think is sick that in society that we continue to normalize and influence people to get into this, because it's a struggle. And lastly, I just want to let you know that this will not happen overnight. All right, you're not gonna quit watching overnight. You know, you need to just start changing your habits. Start small and build up to that last time that you watch it. Really just focus on getting those small habits in order, because that's gonna eventually lead up to the big things. Eventually we'll get there. So yeah, if you want some more advice or anything you want to talk, I'm open to talking about it. I understand how helpful talking about this problem can be. So hit me up in the comments. I'll talk to people. I don't care. Actually, I do care. You know what? I care about you and your well-being. So yeah, if you want to see anything else from me, let me know in the comments. I'll put another video right about here so that you can watch. And if you want to subscribe for all the stuff that I have coming, then I'll put my link right here and you can subscribe there. So I'm gonna go ahead and go.